3, 2, 1, fire.
Well, here we are. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. This is my little talk show, a little thing we call Caller 9. Look, the whole idea is to give you an opportunity to tell us what's going on in your world. Maybe you've got a great charity event coming up this weekend. You want to promote that. Maybe you got a new business. You want to talk about that. Maybe you've got some insight for the real estate market. Linda called last week with some cool information on that. We've talked about weight loss in the past. Whatever is on your mind, that's really ultimately what I want to talk about. Although I've got lots of ideas of my own. By the way, good morning. It's the Milkman, John Milky. Great to be with you. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you are on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitch or listening on blasttheradio.com, where, by the way, I believe... See, I can't hear the audio stream when I'm on the air. It's not like conventional radio where what you listen to in your headphones is the on-air stream. Internet always has a delay, right? Like from here to the computer that I could reach out and touch with my other hand, there can be like a 15, 20-second delay between when I talk and when it actually plays back on there. So, but all this to say, I believe we have the audio issues ironed out. There was quite a bit of static. And I kept checking with people on a try. Does that sound okay to you? Yeah, sounds great. And then yesterday, a couple of people were like, there's a weird noise on your stream. I don't know if you know that. It's been there for like ages now. So I finally had a chance to listen to the stream. It was awful. It was awful. The bad cable in the line. It was a simple fix. Anyway, when you hear stuff like that, just give me a heads up if you would, because I can't always be tuned in and listening to the same thing you're listening to. So I appreciate that. Good morning to Renee. Good morning to Anne-Marie. Good morning to Chrissy. Angela is on. Something about pumpkins. We're not happy about pumpkins. Okay. All right. We discussed that a little bit with Chris, Father Gilbrown yesterday. Oh, there goes the voice. Apparently the voice is fine as long as I don't laugh. Okay, no, let's keep this very, very serious today. 613-604-6464 FYI. That is the number to call in. If there's anything on your mind you want to discuss, you want to comment on, you got a question for me about the show, or about anything for that matter, you are more than welcome. I'm just putting the link up right now. So whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, you'll see a link, a StreamYard.com link up here. That you can click on. That will bring you actually on the air via your webcam. So we can see you and hear you. Or you can call 613-604-6464 for anything that is on your little mind today. I'd like to begin with this. So yesterday, the federal government announced that Monday will be a national day of mourning as we mourn the loss of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. So Monday is officially a national day of mourning. Now, in order for federal employees to spend the day mourning, they have been given the day off. And a lot of people are very, very, very upset that the feds get another day off. I don't get a day off. Well, it depends on the province you live in. Most of the Maritime and East Coast provinces have decided to make Monday a statutory holiday there as well. Here in Ontario, Premier Ford said no. No, Monday is not going to be a statutory holiday, but that doesn't change things. Monday is still a national day of mourning. So my question is this: why all this anger towards federal service employees who, look, federal public service workers, you get picked on. I know you do. But guess what? So do truckers, so do radio people, believe me. All you do is sit there and play records. How difficult is your job? Try it. By the way, sitting here playing records is not all I do. Like lawyers, doctors, everybody mocks other professions. We mock what we don't know. I've never worked for the public service. I know people who have. Most people I know who work for the public service have worked damn hard at it. But let's call a spade a spade. If you work for the public service, you have to know that you have a lot of things that most people don't in their jobs. A guaranteed pension, for one. Cost of living increases, for two. Paid vacation. Bankable holidays. Paid for health benefits. The average public service employee in Canada earns $70,000. I'm going to be brutally honest with you right now and promise you that even at the height of my radio days, at my highest income level, I never got a sniff at $70,000. I know radio people joke about that a lot. I promise you, in 23 years in radio, top-rated midday show, on air with Rick Dees, the World Chart Show, interviewing some of the biggest stars in the world, I never came close to $70,000. On top of that, I paid over $300 a month for the healthcare plan from the company, which paid me like 80% of dental, 70% of prescription. Bankable days off? No. If you didn't get all your days off before the end of the year, you lost them. And I had been there long enough, by the way, that I'd worked myself into a situation where I could have 5 weeks off in the year. Except you can't take these 2 months off in the spring because that's ratings. You can't take these 2 months off in the fall. So there's 8 weeks out of the calendar that you can't have off. Try and work in your 5 weeks vacation. Like, it's just all this to say, look, if you work for the public service, you have to be aware. You have to be aware that there's a lot of things that you are given in your job that the average person does not have. So is that where the anger comes from? I don't know. But here's my question to you. Okay, so you don't work for a federally regulated company. You don't work for the public service. You don't work for, radio broadcasting, for example, is federally regulated. So radio broadcasting is on a statutory holiday Monday schedule. But here in the province, your schools are still open, et cetera, because they are provincially regulated. Okay, so you're someone who does not get Monday off, the national day of mourning. You don't have the day off from work. If you did, or conversely, if you do have Monday off as a statutory holiday, would you / will you be spending Monday mourning the loss of the Queen? Be honest. That's my question to you. On Monday, if you're a federal employee and you have the day off, it's our national day of mourning. Or if you don't have Monday off, will you / would you not be mourning the loss of the Queen? That's my question to you today, and I'd love to get your answers. James says, no, I wouldn't. Chrissy says, great question. Thanks, Chrissy. I thought so too. Renee says, if I had the day off, I would be watching the funeral of the Queen. Okay, so yes, you would take advantage of that opportunity to mourn the loss of our official head of state, by the way. For us in Canada, Australia, England, Ireland, Scotland, for those of us who live under the monarchy, this is, an equivalent loss to our American friends should they lose a president, a sitting president. Right? That's who our queen is. Our queen is our official head of state, represented here by the governor general. So if, God forbid, President Biden, were to die in office, of course, there would be funerals, pomp, circumstance, and you'd be seeing a lot of, the same things happening there that are happening in London and England right now. It would be a national day of mourning. Now, I'm sure the federal government in the States would, have a national statutory holiday for that. Whether individual states would, who knows? I don't know. I'm not an American. I don't know how it works there exactly. I got some ideas. But would you, if you could be off Monday, or if you are off Monday, would you or will you be spending that day, as it is designated, mourning? And by the way, I don't know where this is coming from on social media. Oh, this is another holiday they get every single year. No, I don't know where people got that from. It's not every single year. It's this Monday for this one-time event where our official head of state, Her Majesty the Queen, after 70 years, has passed away. September 19th next year will not be a statutory holiday, will not be a national day of mourning. Sure, there may be ceremonies to remember the Queen, but this is a one-time thing. And I sat there last night, ironically, at a comedy show at No Forks Given. Full house, by the way, last night. We had a great crowd. Oh, my gosh. We're going to get to the point with this real quick that if you don't start making reservations, you won't get in. And that's an awesome thing. Good for No Forks Given. But I'm sitting there last night watching this comedy show, and every now and then my phone would ping. And another person on Facebook, just angry as hell. Another national holiday, another statutory holiday for public servants. One day. And you're that bent out of shape. Julie says, I'm a federal government employee, and I will be watching the funeral. That is the intended purpose of you being home. So that's good to hear. Jennifer says she would want to watch the funeral. Okay, interesting. My daughter said she would not, but wondered why she didn't get a holiday. Aha. See, that's getting to the heart of my question. So if you don't care for the monarchy, if you don't care for our head of state, you just want a holiday for the sake of having a holiday. You just want to go shopping. It kind of defeats the point. Grandma died. Cool. I'm not going to go to the funeral. I'm going to go to the movies. I don't know. Anne Marie says she would be watching the funeral as well. Renee says, if I cannot find a feed, or if I can find a feed, pardon me, I would watch it at work. Okay, but not everybody can or is allowed to. But I applaud that if you're able to, sure. And I mean, to me, that would be my solution. I'd show up for work and I would, fire up the computer and I would have that on in the corner. I think most Canadians would. Not unlike if there was a major catastrophe in the world. You'd find a way to tune that in somehow. Still get your work done. Chrissy says, I have Scottish England background family ties. Part of our family follows all the royals big time. Okay, but you're still not answering my question. Starts at 6 a.m., says Jules. So I'm getting up. I work for the city of Ottawa, says Jennifer. So unfortunately, I will be working. Mm-hmm. Most people will be working. Kelly will be watching. Kath says she will watch as well. But again, the question is, Would most? So based on the feedback I'm getting so far, yeah, most people will take, the day of mourning for what it is and actually mourn the loss of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Interesting. Not sure if Lowell is going to talk about that today, but he will be back at 2 o'clock this afternoon. FYI. So what else is on your mind? What do you want to talk about? There's lots of stuff in the news right now. The coyote problem in Ottawa, this always fascinates me. And look, coyotes they can be evil and vicious. And I, as you know, am a pet owner. I got an asshole cat. All cats are assholes, but mine is a special little asshole, Mr. Moo. And we have 120-pound Bernese lab mix, our beautiful Keltie. So obviously I'm concerned about the well-being of my pets when I put them outside. And I live not too far from the Conroy Dog Park, which, of course, is a large forested area surrounded by more large forested areas. There is a lot of wildlife here in Blossom Park, Hunt Club, Finley Creek area. But yeah, we're starting to get reports, as we do, about coyotes. They're hunting. They're looking for food. And small dogs and cats. For a wild animal like a coyote, that's a meal. That's just the food chain. That's nature. So what do we do with this situation? Because, I mean, everybody wants to back onto green space, right? That's something we covet in the city. We've got so much of it. I want to be around green space. I want to be close to green space. And I think when people buy a house backing onto, a forested area, et cetera, they're thinking of bunnies and squirrels. Squirrels, by the way, can be very destructive. So can the raccoons. I mean, wildlife is wild. It does crazy things. But, we're nuts, aren't we? We want to back onto all this until it's a problem. And then all of a sudden we're on the front page of the news. What? There's coyotes in the forest? We can't have those. Well, why not? It's kind of where they live and have lived and do their thing. So I don't know. What should we be doing here? I mean, I'm fortunate that I've not had that issue. I've walked through Conroy Dog Park, and there's been coyote sightings. I've certainly seen foxes in there, etc. Got to be scary though if you're living on a street and you sort of have this sense of I can put my dog out for a little bit and not have to worry about him or her, or I can let my cat out at night. By the way, can we just talk about the whole cat thing? Why are you letting your cat out? Oh, that's the natural habitat for a cat. That's what they do. Cats are roamers and they're hunters. Yeah, but you bought a pet so that you could just leave it in the wild. I mean, that's not a pet. To me, that's an animal living in the wild. That's a wild animal. Why do you call it a pet? If it lives outdoors, if it does its thing outdoors, if it's interfering with the neighbor's way of life, if it's digging up their garden, if it's leaving poop on their lawn, or dead, like cats hunt, they'll catch a bird, they'll catch a squirrel, and they'll leave it on someone's back step or front step. Blech. I don't understand the whole cat thing. I've got a cat. It's not my first cat. It'll be my last cat, but it's not my first cat. I've never had a cat where I've just let it live outdoors. I don't get it. And some people say, "Oh, that's cruel. You're going against the animal's nature." Well, I mean, dogs are wolves. They're coyotes. We keep them in the house. In fact, if I don't have my dog in the house and it's too cold or too hot out, people are bound to call bylaw. Oh, you're abusing your animal. Take it indoors. Forgetting, of course, the animal is designed to, for the most part, put up with those conditions. Anyway, not getting a whole lot of feedback on the whole coyote issue, so I guess that's not something that too many are interested in today, but whatever is on your mind, I would be happy to discuss that. You can click the video camera link at blasttheradio.com and appear on cam, or give us a call to talk about whatever you want to talk about, 613-604-6464. Cats should stay indoors, says Kristen. I've seen too many cats who've met unfortunate ends by being outdoor cats. Yep. Me too. If you truly love your cat, you won't let it be hanging around Bank Street. And I live right near Bank Street, and I see cats up and like there's 6 lanes there, and there's a cat wandering by. Like it's a 60 zone, it's a school zone, but I guarantee you, most of the traffic is doing 90 at a minimum. In Saskatchewan, says GP, coyotes killed and ate my 3-year-old colt. I see. I feel for you. It's awful, awful stuff. But I mean, like, where do we have to accept this wildlife living around us, don't we? I mean, we got to do our best to manage. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right. Not getting a huge response to that, but that's okay. We have other things we can discuss. Right now, how about a moment to empower you? Some tips on how to do that. The very best in the biz is our friend Susie, the diva of love. Let's dive in. You need to have that person in your life who is just there with an impartial view of your or an impartial view of your life. You need to have that person in your life who's watching out for you, but they have an impartial approach to you and aren't afraid to call you on your bullshit sometimes. Some call it therapy, some call it coaching. I like the term coaching, and we've got a great coach with us every single day, here to remind you of some of the simple things you may not be seeing as you try and achieve big goals, little goals, whether they're in your love life, personal life, business life. Welcome back, the diva of love. Hey, Susie.
Hey, John.
I loved our conversation yesterday about why are you not achieving your goals? And like I said, those were great little reminders you gave us yesterday. And so today, in a roundabout kind of way, we're kind of addressing that again, but going a little bit deeper too. This is living your past on repeat.
Yes, kind of like that song that you play over and over and over.
I don't do that. I leave that to FM radio stations to play the song over and over. All right.
You know, like when you're sad and that song really hits you, right? Or you're really happy and a song really motivates you.
Absolutely.
Just keep playing it over and over again, you know? But in the same way, when traumatic events happen, we often relive those moments over and over and over and over again in our mind. It often really consumes us and we get into a hole that we can't climb out of. You know, hate, shame, fear, or any other emotion you're feeling takes over your power and control.
Right.
And letting go of those negative experiences is severing the attachment that other people, places, or things have on you. Taking that major step forward without looking back. So moving forward, not back. I'm here to tell you from personal experience that it's so worth making the effort to get to the other side of hurt, where there's happiness and life. You can live your life even if you've had trauma. Making the decision to let go and move through the trauma, it doesn't negate it or discount its effects on your life. But what it does do is help you break free from that trauma. Helps take away that power from that trauma.
I heard on a podcast once somebody sort of say that they had like a sorry clock. Like, okay, I'm going to allow myself to be angry or upset or heartbroken or whatever negative emotion. I'm going to allow myself that emotion, but I'm setting a time limit to it, which, you know, it sounds nice when you hear it. You know, putting that into practice, of course, becomes much more difficult. But I think if you actually have that as a goal, you know, whether it's a time, you know, a specific hour or date or whatever else. Nope. Look, this is a goal that, like we talked about yesterday, this is a goal that I've set and I've worked my way up to it. And today's the day where, nope, I'm just not going to allow myself to wallow in self-pity anymore. I'm picking myself up by the bootstraps and I'm moving myself forward. How do you feel about that analogy? That soul clock.
I think for some things, yes. I believe, like, I know some people who are mourning a loss at the anniversary of the death of the person, you know, they do something to remember them, or, you know, they give themselves that time to, you know, feel bad. But I think it's still giving power to, as long as you're not giving power to the situation, like, okay, I'm going to be depressed about being single every Friday at 2:00. And that's
Well,
It
no.
doesn't, like, I think you're
No, no.
still giving
I'm
it
going to allow
power.
myself to be depressed about being single, but come Friday at 2:00, I'm over it. I'm moving on. I'm hitting
Yeah.
the patio. I'm going to be looking good, and I'm going to see, what new adventures are out there waiting for me.
Exactly. It's how
All
you
right.
word it, right?
There you
It's
go.
your motivation behind it, your intention behind it, the intent. So if your intent is just like, let me get just out these feelings out of me. But for me, I try to encourage people too to kind of have a positive outlet. Like if you're feeling that angst, that really horrible feeling and upset, go for a walk, do some activity, try and kind of get those jitters out. That turn it kind of a positive experience, instead of letting it. So as long as it's not taking over your power, I think it's okay to feel it. Feel your feelings. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I
But
love it. Feel
where's the
your
power?
feelings.
Yeah. Where's the power, right? Do you hold the power, or does that experience or that person that hurt you, the trauma, is that what's more powerful than you? We end up maybe falling into the victim mindset, and we don't want that. To begin your path to healing, you really need to acknowledge what it is that's holding you back from moving forward and reaching your goals. I encourage people to write down a plan of action of how you'll work to let it go. It might mean getting help from others, like a therapist or those close to you. I mean, I suffered some traumas in my life, and through work with others, it helped me get to a better place and learn how to be more, look at it more positively. Like
Okay.
with this thing that happened, I can either let it consume me, or I can take it and help others. I can use it to uplift me, and everybody's trauma is different. I'm not saying it's going to work for everyone, but I think working with somebody is going to help you get to that place of
And
positivity.
that's exactly what I, started this conversation trying to articulate. Sometimes you don't see what you see, and you
Yeah.
need, someone around you who's going to help you get through that fog that you're in. And look, it's right there. The very thing you're looking for is right there. And that's where great coaching comes in. And you're a great coach.
Because your friends and family are great to talk to and vent to, but they usually enable us, right?
Yes.
Or they have their own agendas. So I think you need an impartial person, whether it's a therapist or coach, to help you. Like for me, I have a goal of getting back to my pre-baby body, and I tried doing it on my own or help from others, but I decided, like, okay, I need to work with a coach. I need someone to help me.
Sure.
And that's what I'm doing, in order to kind of achieve the best results, because I tried doing it on my own and I couldn't, because you need that person kind of to kick your butt sometimes, right?
Well, and because you've been able to articulate to them, here is the end objective, and there's someone who can then lay out the plan, the business plan for you. That's basically what you're hiring them for, and they hold you to account.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yes. Whereas friends and family are probably going to let you off the hook a little more often.
Exactly.
In fact, more often.
My husband, if I say, okay, let's get fast food today, or let's get, okay, like,
right?
you're so bad, like, say no. Like,
I know. I live with an enabler too. All right. A post-it note for this fantastic conversation, Susie.
Yes.
I'm always grateful for these conversations.
My past does not define me.
Write it down, put it in front of you, and it'll remind you of this conversation. My past does not define me. All right, listen, you got a great workbook available. You've got all kinds of articles, years and years and years worth of work, and you put it out there in the hopes that just, a thing here and a thing there will make a difference in somebody's life. You're basically paying this forward, and I appreciate it so much. But you're available for one-on-one coaching too. How do people get in touch?
divaoflove.com.
She is Susie, none better, life empowerment coaching. Here for you, of course, on blasttheradio.com. On the Milkman Show, my little talk show called Caller 9, which is actually supposed to be your little talk show. Whatever's on your mind, 613-604-6464. A steady stream of people into my inbox. Can you tell the world about this? I got this going on. Can you tell them about it? Well, even better, you can. You can. Who else offers you this opportunity? TV stations charge you for this opportunity. It's your chance to be in front of my social media audience, my radio audience, etc. Maybe you got a great new business that you've launched, a great new restaurant. Maybe you have some real estate tips. Maybe you've got a charity fundraiser. Maybe you've got, your own way of mourning the queen, an event you'd like to bring, people down for. Let us know. That's what it's for. Click the camera at blasttheradio.com. You can appear on screen with me or 613-604-6464. So this being September 14th, as I look at our Today is Holiday calendar, congratulations to all of you who do not consume alcohol. That takes a lot of strength, a lot of willpower. It is National Sober Day today. So congrats to all who are not drinking. Now, here we go. It also happens to be National Rosa Tequila Day. We've all got that one alcohol we've abused, right? That if we go back to it, if I even smell tequila. Nope. I want to ask you this question because it's National Cream-Filled Donut Day. Who's got the best donut in Ottawa these days? There's a lot of great donut places popping up. Who's got the best donut on this National Cream-Filled Donut Day? It's also National Coloring Day, FYI. Some people, even in their adult days, like to color. A lot of folks, they have amazing artwork on their bodies. That's some great coloring going on. National Food is Medicine Day today. National Eat a Hoagie Day. Oh, that sounds good. Is your name Noel? Happy National Noel Day. And National Live Creative Day, or Live Creative Day. Doing things live creatively. One vote in, so Mavericks. I really thought I'd get a bigger reaction to the whole donut question. Mavericks. One person. Look at my career. Wow. Anyway, so there's that. Looking at today in the 80s. Some cool stuff happened today in the 80s. Entertainment Tonight, which is still on, premiered in syndication this day in 1981. Cool. Today in 1984, the first MTV Video Music Awards were held in New York City. Madonna was there. She performed like a virgin. And of course, it was unbelievably controversial, as pretty much anything Madonna does has always been, is, and will continue to be. I miss videos. Ed the Sock on his latest podcast was talking with Bill Welichka and Rick the Temp. They were reminiscing about Woodstock 99. And they talked about that whole, MTV moved away from the video music thing and became sort of more lifestyle shows. And then Much just moved away from it entirely. I mean, Much is just rehashing and replaying like sitcoms and stuff. Doesn't that break your heart? You're never going to convince me that there's not an audience that would sit in front of Much music today. Especially in the personalities on Much, like Ed the Sock, like Bill Welichka, like Rick the Temp, Sook Yin, Erica M. It's not just me, right? Like, would your kids watch Much music today? And I know they've got all these other avenues to watch music videos. They can fire them up on YouTube, etc. But do you not think your kids today would watch a music video channel? If it was done creatively enough, I really believe it would. James says, I loved Friday night videos. Yeah, good rockin' tonight with Stu Jeffries. Samantha Taylor video hits. Tarzan Dan, good buddy of mine. Jamming in the jungle with Tarzan Dan. Yo, baby, yo. Jules misses the battle of the videos on Fridays where you got to vote and participate in that. See, they've moved away from that. They have this belief for whatever reason that there's just not an audience for that anymore. With the advent of the cell phone and how easy it would be for someone to vote for their favorite artist, favorite music. But then again, you don't hear that on the radio anymore, do you? But I refuse to believe that wouldn't be a thing these days. It's just we've taken it away, therefore it's not a thing. Pop-up videos, absolutely awesome show. Jules, I agree. People, and this is, like my show that I do in Sarasota, filled with music trivia. The show that I do on weekends, the Sunday Morning Diner, which airs in Milton, South Simcoe, and Orangeville. It's all tidbits of music information, things you and I didn't know about the songs. Love video, says Renee, and the pop-up video. Absolutely. Kat says, my grandkids watch YouTube all the time. But it's one thing, and that's great. You know, like you can enter into YouTube, I want to see this. And it shows you exactly what you enter in. But the advantage to a Much Music or a radio station is if it's done right, it's going to introduce you to things that you didn't know, that you if you didn't know, you couldn't punch into a search engine on YouTube and find. I loved when they were who you would turn to introduce you to what was cool. And the whole presentation of it, things like fromage, the Christmas tree toss. By the way, between us, I have been talking with Ed the Sock lately. Ed would like to come on the show. Thoughts on having Ed the Sock on the show? I'll wait. Also, this day in the 80s, Golden Girls premiered on NBC. This day in 1985. Wow. 1989, Madonna granted a divorce from Sean Penn. And in 1987, the big new single released this day of that year, Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle. So happy anniversary to that song. That's a yes for Ed the Sock from James. A hell yeah from Jules for Ed the Sock. Ed, yes, says Chrissy. Yes for Ed, says Kath. Oh my God. I say yes to Ed and a yes to Ed the Sock. So I believe that's unanimous. Okay. You know what scares me though? Like, could I hold court? I mean, I can hold court with Lowell Green. That surprises me. Could I hold court with Ed the Sock? That's a whole other beast. Man is brilliant. He absolutely is brilliant and funny. All right. Noted. Without further ado, let's get into a food conversation. My tummy's rumbling, so let's talk food. Chris Father Gilbrown is here. His YouTube channel is called That's Rank. He is Team Pumpkin Spice. I am Team Oh Hell No. Chris Father Gilbrown from youtube.com/That's Rank. A YouTube channel from Ottawa completely devoted to all things food, typically the weirder side. So yesterday, pumpkin spice, what horrible, terrible thing are you going to ram down my throat today, Chris?
You're very dangerous territory with comments like that, John.
No.
Okay, let's take this down. We got to be respectful because it's a week of mourning. So last week, the longtime Queen Elizabeth II, passed away. And on Monday of this week, Buckingham Palace shared a message with the public. Stop leaving marmalade sandwiches out as tributes.
No, they're not.
So
they're not, though, are they?
They are. They had to. This had to be a public service announcement. So
because
I guess
of the Paddington Bear.
Oh, you're so smart. You're so smart. I was going to ask you if leaving a marmalade sandwich was your first inclination when you heard that she had passed away.
No, and I don't even get the leaving the flowers thing. I mean, though, it's wasteful.
It's completely wasteful. I agree. I suspect that the palace would prefer that the public not be doing much other than just
show up
and mourn,
show your condolences, soak it all in. Absolutely.
Right. So,
yeah.
But yeah, you're spot on. So what they were thinking was Queen Elizabeth, noted fan of Paddington Bear, eater of marmalade sandwiches. So you can see how the public drew that crazy conclusion. Leave marmalade sandwiches at roadside. The problem, of course, is that it attracts wildlife and
and it molds and it goes bad and it's moist in England. I know people don't like that word, but it is.
Very, very moist land. So her collection of corgis were not the concern for the wildlife. It was, and I don't know if the Queen is a fan of the Canadian cartoon series, The Raccoons, but given that's what the sandwiches were attracting, we all hope that she is. Fans of shows do really weird things when it comes to food sometimes. John, did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
No.
I'm sorry to hear that, first of all. You really need to.
It shocks nobody, Chris. I haven't, because I don't have patience or listen, you know me. What was I doing before we had this conversation? I'm going to have a quick little lay down, a quick little nap. The minute I stop, Chris, I pass out. I work. So Breaking Bad, it just requires way too much of my attention and energy.
That's really too bad, because one of the most famous
I hear great things.
Entire show is a fairly insignificant part of the story, but Walter White throws a large pizza on the roof of his house during a fit of rage. Well, that house is actually someone's very real home in New Mexico, and they've had to plead with the public to stop throwing pizzas on their roof.
I bet, yeah.
So the public, as we know, responds as the public does, and that ramped up the pizza throwing. So the homeowners have actually had to construct a 6-foot tall wrought iron fence to get the public to knock it off.
People are not right, dude.
Back to the Queen. Despite being a fan of Paddington, marmalade sandwiches weren't her jam. Her favorite sandwich might actually surprise you. I think of the Queen as a dainty, proper figure, probably living on tea and crumpets and crustless cucumber sandwiches. That would be my impression. But during a visit to Austin, the chef at the hotel she was staying at was ready for anything. And as it turns out, what she wanted was her favorite sandwich. And her favorite sandwich is ham. Now, she provided her own bread to the hotel, but the chef actually got to choose the ham. He doesn't say which one he went with, but I like to think that it was Oscar Mayer, because I know that's what I would have done. She's still a person, and who's saying no to Oscar Mayer?
No, you do not feed Oscar Mayer to royalty, Chris. No.
Now, I do wonder if this is going to halt the production of her lineup of ketchup, though. Did you know that she made ketchup, John?
I'm looking for the punchline. No,
there's no punchline. She genuinely made ketchup. She launched it earlier this year using ingredients from her estate in Sandringham. It was marketed. What? It was marketed as ideal for breakfast or any time of the day, and was flavored with dates, apple juice, and spices. And it turns out that she really loved burgers, although she ate them without buns and used a knife and a fork. And it was affectionately dubbed the Ma'am Burger. So there you go. The Queen, hot on the keto trend. Who knew, John?
I like that very much. No, I think, they like to create an image and an illusion. When you really sort of get behind the scenes, they're very real people.
Look, they, other than the fact that they have a whole lot more money than you and I and live in luxury, they've still got access to all the same foods, and their taste buds are probably going to be craving a lot of the same stuff when it comes down to it. So,
but how do they feel about pumpkin spice?Maybe that's tomorrow's segment, right?
I'll have to ask the king himself.
And we're 5 short of having 500 subscribers each on our YouTube channels. So if that doesn't get us connected to the King of England, nothing will. Chris Father Gilbrown, give his page or his YouTube channel a follow. What are you, 3 away from 500 subscribers now?
We're pretty close. We're right on the cusp.
You're 3 away. I'm 5 away. So give him a follow, youtube.com/that's rank, and you'll find me youtube.com/blasttheradio. Thank you, Chris Father Gilbrown, as always. Interesting conversations. He is, I think he's really onto something. What a great YouTube channel. That's rank. Okay. People leaving marmalade sandwiches. That's so gross. The people whip craft dinner, the bare naked ladies when they're on stage. I mean, it's just, we are a bizarre species. And here we are worried about coyotes and moose and things in our backyard. Well, I always hope that I'm going to hear from you on this show. So far this week, I haven't. Disappointing, but we'll try it again tomorrow right here on blasttheradio.com. A little thing I do for you called caller number 9. Thanks for checking it out. Rusty's here at noon with Rusty's Good Time Oldies. Lowell's here at 2 o'clock doing what Lowell does best, pissing them off and letting you know what is actually going on from the island of sanity. That's at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Until then, move for now.